The WWE Intercontinental Championship has been in the WWE since September 1st, 1979, including Dean Ambrose. The Intercontinental Championship changed hands 154 times. Chris Jericho won it the most as a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. Honky Tonk Man to this day still has the longest reign at 454 days. Today, I give you my top 10 Intercontinental Champions. At number 10, I have Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. Now, Rob Van Dam is a 6-time Intercontinental Champion. He held the belt a combined total of 211 days. Now, Rob Van Dam is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and when he came to the WWE, I always said he's going to make an excellent Intercontinental Champion, and that's why one of the reasons why he made my list. That guy's such a good worker. Just the moves he'd do was always a cut above everybody else. The matches he put on, and plus the matches he put on as Intercontinental Champion, he had memorable ladder matches over that Intercontinental title. Rob Van Dam, I was there when he first became Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania at Skydome in Toronto. It was awesome. So my number 10 pick is Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam. At number 9, I have a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. He is the first man to hold both the WWE Intercontinental Champion and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion at the same time. In fact, at that time, it was known as the World Wrestling Federation. That man is the Ultimate Warrior. At WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Warrior became the first man to be Intercontinental Champion and World Heavyweight Champion at the same time. After the Ultimate Warrior became Heavyweight Champion, he vacated the Intercontinental title, which was custom at the time. Ultimate Warrior first became Intercontinental Champion on his first title reign when he squashed the Honky Tonk Man at SummerSlam 1988. At 1988 SummerSlam, the Honky Tonk Man was the longest reigning champion, like I mentioned earlier in this video, and he held an open challenge. The man to accept it was the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior comes down, splash, end of story. Honky Tonk Man no longer champion, and begins the reign of the Ultimate Warrior. That's why he is number 9. At number 8, this one's a twist. This one, I have a tie. At number 8, we have 2 people. The first man, he's Christian. Christian is a 4-time Intercontinental Champion, held the title a total of 192 days. And the second guy, who's also number 8 on my list, is Edge. Edge is a 5-time Intercontinental Champion and held the belt 171 days. Now, the reason why these guys are tied is because when Edge was Intercontinental Champion, Christian wanted that Intercontinental title when they just broke up as a tag team. Their feud was awesome. The matches they had over that Intercontinental title will go down in history as some of the best Intercontinental Championship matches of all time. That ladder match just speaks for itself. That is why Edge and Christian are tied, and they are ranked number 8. Now, at number 7, this one's kind of a shock. This man is a 3-time Intercontinental Champion, held the belt a combined 406 days. The reason why he is so low on the list is because it seems like every time the guy was supposed to drop the title, an injury would happen, or he'd get beat outside of a nightclub at Syracuse. That's right, I'm talking about HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Now, Mr. WrestleMania was Intercontinental Champion for a while. Like, 406 days is no laughing matter. That is no joke. He put on some great matches for that Intercontinental title. One of his underrated matches is him against Tito Santana, El Matador. I think it was WrestleMania 7 for the Intercontinental Championship. Not a bad match, guys. Look it up. But Shawn Michaels, like I said, the reason why he's so low on the list, it's because it seemed like every time he'd have to put the belt, like put someone over to become, to put somebody over, he would either come down with an injury or he'd get beat up outside of a nightclub. So that's why Shawn Michaels, I'm sorry, great performer, better world champion than IC champion. That's why you're number 7. At number 6, we got another tie. And we have one of them is a 4-time Intercontinental Champion who held the belt 437 days. The bad guy, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. Now, Scott Hall was one of my favorite Intercontinental Champions. I love the way he carried the belt. He had such good swagger with that belt. He was such a good worker while he had that belt. He was such a good worker as Razor Ramon, period. Scott Hall deserves a lot of credit. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame as Razor Ramon. But him as Intercontinental Champion, it was just so good. It just looked right. It fit. And also, the other person that's tied for number 6 is the King of Hearts, a 2-time Intercontinental Champion who held the belt 132 days, Owen Hart. I loved Owen Hart as Intercontinental Champion. That belt looked so good on him. And the way that him and Razor both carried that title, it really meant that, like, it really felt like the Intercontinental title meant something. That's why these guys are tied at number 6. Like, they both put on great matches as champions. They both held the belt with respect, and they made that belt so important that guys wanted to beat them to become champion. That's why these guys are number 6. At number 5, this man is a 1-time Intercontinental Champion, held the belt 148 days. He was managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. In fact, Bobby the Brain Heenan helped him win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 5. That's right, the ravishing one, ravishing Rick Rude. Rick Rude was always one of my favorite wrestlers. I loved the way he worked. He had such a great look, and when he was in that feud with the Ultimate Warrior to become Intercontinental Champion, you could tell how badly he wanted to be Intercontinental Champion. Like, remember at WrestleMania 5 when he had his tights with the Intercontinental title printed on them, because he knew at the end of before the night ended, he was going to leave Intercontinental Champion. And that's what I really liked about Rick Rude. He had that swagger, he had that confidence, and with him as the Intercontinental Champion, it really helps that belt. Like, when guys carry that belt, it's not the belt that makes the man, it's the man that makes the belt. Because anyone can become champion. It takes a man to carry that title, and that's what Rick Rude was. He was such a great Intercontinental Champion. That's why he is number 5. Now, at number 4, if this guy didn't make the list, then I don't know what I'm doing in talking wrestling, right, guys? At number 4, we have the man who's been the Intercontinental Champion the most times, Y2J Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho held the belt, like I mentioned, 9 times, a combined total of 318 days. The reason why he is so low on that list, for the amount of title reigns he has, it's the shortness of those reigns. Like, you're only champion 318 days. Honky Tonk Man, longest reigning champion, only held the belt once. And getting to later on in the list, it's going to be thinner out how many times these guys have become champion. So Chris Jericho had so many good matches with the Intercontinental title. I love the fact when he won the Intercontinental Championship, it's like, yes, I'm the Intercontinental Champion. This is the greatest day of my life. When he was backstage, he had the champagne. He was holding up the belt. Now, that's what the Intercontinental title needs. It needs guys that carry that belt to show how important it is. Because remember, back in the day, that title was classified as the working man's title. The best worker on the roster was the Intercontinental Champion. He was the guy going out there giving 5-star matches. And damned if he didn't, Chris Jericho put on some awesome matches for that Intercontinental title. His matches with Kurt Angle, his matches with Benoit, his matches with Guerrero, his matches with anybody you put up for that Intercontinental title was good. And Chris Jericho was such a class act as Intercontinental Champion. He even put Chyna over, for freak's sakes. He put Chyna over and she became Intercontinental Champion. And that's why Chris Jericho is number 4. 9 times, 318 days. It should have been longer, Chris. Should have been longer. Number 4, Y2J, Chris Jericho. Number 3, this guy is my favorite wrestler of all times. That's right, you know where I'm going with this, guys. He's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, Bret Hart is a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Held the title for a total of 290 days. Now, Bret Hart put on some of the greatest matches for that Intercontinental title. When he first won the title off of Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, at SummerSlam, that was arguably one of the best matches at SummerSlam. Then for Bret to do it again with the British Bulldog when he lost the title for the second time and the final time when he was Intercontinental Champion at SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium, that match was awesome. They put family aside. They put that belt on the line. It was just 2 men going after the title. That's what I like so much about the Bret Hart British Bulldog match. That match was about the title. It was 2 baby faces going into the match, and they just wanted to prove who was the better wrestler. And on that night, it was the British Bulldog. Now, Davey Boy wasn't there 100% if you listen to some of the Bret Hart interviews that he's done about that match. But if you watch that match, it is a great match. I love how they did it. Bret Hart, the way he carried that title. Now, that's a big thing I've been stressing in this video. How the guys carried the title. Now, one of Bret Hart's most memorable WWF magazine covers was him with that Intercontinental title after he first became Intercontinental Champion. That's one of my favorite magazine covers. I still have that magazine to mind you. And Bret Hart, the way he carried it was just so good. Bret Hart was the definition of an Intercontinental Champion. Intercontinental Champion, like I said, was always was the best worker. That's why it was the working man's title. Bret Hart, number 3, such a good champion. Number 2. Now, this one was an easy choice. This guy is another one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. This guy, his career was cut short. Tragic ending. He is Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig is a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. He's held the title for a combined 406 days. Now, you guys are going to say to me, Chris, how can Kurt Hennig how come he's higher on the list than Bret Hart? Simple. When Kurt Hennig dropped the belt to Bret Hart, that guy was going through excruciating back pain. He had so much back trouble. He was not going to wrestle, but then when he found out it was Bret Hart, the guy who was going to drop the belt to, Kurt Hennig fought while injured and still put on such a great match with Bret Hart at SummerSlam just so Bret Hart could become Intercontinental Champion at that pay-per-view. That is awesome. The way Mr. Perfect carried that title, he loved that title. That title suited him so much. Kurt Hennig is such an underrated wrestler in the WWE. It is such a shame that he was never World Heavyweight Champion. That's why he's number 2 on my list of best all-time Intercontinental Champions. Kurt Hennig was such a great champion. The matches he he put on. Him and Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, had some great matches over the Intercontinental Championship as well. Kurt Hennig won the championship after the Ultimate Warrior vacated the title after becoming the World Heavyweight Champion after WrestleMania 6. So that's what makes it so awesome. Mr. Perfect held that belt with so much dignity and swagger, and that belt just suited him so much. Mr. Perfect, in my opinion, he should have been number one, but we're going to get to my number one pick, and when I announce that pick, you're going to know why he is the number one Intercontinental Champion. Mr. Perfect, number two. Now, before I name that number one pick, I'm going to name some honorable mentions. And these guys deserve to be on the list, but I'm sorry. I already bent the rules with a couple of ties. I couldn't do it anymore, so here are some honorable mentions. The current Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose. Now, Dean Ambrose barely missed this list, but the reason why he missed this list because his title reign is still short and is yet to be finished. And with Dean Ambrose right now, I really like what he's doing with the Intercontinental Championship. He's showing the pride to become champion. He's showing that desire to keep that title. To Dean Ambrose, that title means everything to him, as you can see in his promos and the way how he carries that title. On his drive to become Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania 31, when he first showed his interest in the Intercontinental Championship, he was naming off all the great Intercontinental Champions of the past, saying how he wanted to be remembered with those names as Intercontinental Champions. He wanted to be remembered with names such as Kurt Hennig, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and so on. Razor Ramon, the Ultimate Warrior. You know where I'm going with this, guys. And Dean Ambrose, the way he's carrying the belt right now, is something the Intercontinental title has not had for a while. Him and Kevin Owens are the most recent guys to hold that belt with pride. And speaking of Kevin Owens, he also gets the honorable mention. His title reign wasn't that long, his first reign, but that guy is a prize fighter. That title suited him so well. The way he carried himself, conducted himself as Intercontinental Champion. That belt looked right on him. Now, some more honorable mentions. We got Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett was a great Intercontinental Champion, so underrated. Jeff Jarrett is a multi-time Intercontinental Champion. He won his first title off of Razor Ramon. He held that belt so many times, and one of the reasons why Jeff Jarrett is such a great Intercontinental Champion. The night after the tragedy of Owen Hart was supposed to become Intercontinental Champion. The next night, Jeff Jarrett was his tag team partner. They did that heartwarming Monday Night Raw where everyone told Owen Hart stories. And on that night, Jeff Jarrett went out there and he wrestled the Godfather and became the Intercontinental Champion again. Jeff Jarrett is such a good Intercontinental Champion. The way he carried himself, conducted himself. Jeff Jarrett deserved to be on this list, but he is an honorable mention. I'm sorry, Jeff. Like, you're such a great wrestler, but I see you more as a world champion than the IC champion. But just the way he carried that, awesome. Another man who's an honorable mention, the Honky Tonk Man. Now, Honky Tonk Man, the reason why he's not on this list is only because the way you lost that title. You're the longest running Intercontinental Champion, and you got squashed in 30 seconds to lose that title. Sorry, Honky. That's why you did not make the list. Now, my last two honorable mentions, we got The Rock and we got Stone Cold Steve Austin. The reason why these two did not make the list, and now you're going to say to me, Chris, how can you keep Rock and Austin off this list? Because these guys are world champions. They're not IC champions. Their feud for the Intercontinental title was very legendary. It was memorable. When Steve Austin threw the Intercontinental title into the river and that Rock had the new Intercontinental title that they debuted, I always liked how that title looked. I always actually liked how the Intercontinental title looks. I'm glad that they're back to the classic title right now. But Rock and Austin, to me, you're top dogs. You're not the IC champion. To me, you guys are world champions. That's why I did not make that list. For my number one pick, this was an easy choice. When I decided to make this video, I'm like, okay, there's one guy and one guy only. He's the cream of the crop, baby. Ooh, yeah, the Macho Man. Randy Savage. How can you not have an Intercontinental Championship list without mentioning the Macho Man? The Macho Man is a one-time Intercontinental Champion. Held the title for 414 days. Lost the title in one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time, WrestleMania 3. That is why Randy Savage is the number one man. Not only for the way he carried that title, how he was the cream of the crop, how he put over the Intercontinental title as the title. Randy Savage, the way he lost that title. And arguably, like I said earlier, one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Him and Ricky Steamboat. Fans talk about that day. All wrestling fans around my age still love that match. Actually, I watched it not that long ago. That's how much I like that match. Randy Savage was the best Intercontinental Champion of all time, in my opinion. 414 days is no laughing matter. When he became Intercontinental Champion, till the day he ended his reign, he was the guy. No other guy could be the Intercontinental Champion, except for, actually, after WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat, but his reign was nowhere long as Randy Savage. I thought after Steamboat became champion, he was going to have a good reign like Savage. He did have a good run, but it was nowhere close to how awesome the Macho Man is. there you have it, guys. My list on who are the top Intercontinental Champions of all time, my top 10. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Is there a wrestler that you like and I left off this list? Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to keep watching Wrestling Talk with Classic Chris.